There's no finer evidence that it affects the memory than the fact that y'all seem to believe that the lockdown lasted years longer than it did. It lasted a couple months in most states, after which it was just mask mandates, if that. And you're blaming everything in society on these lockdowns, like, oh, that's why people are so feral. Oh, really? Maybe it was, I don't know, seeing millions of people die, and then also having to deal with the police beating absolute hell out of us in 2020. Do y'all remember that? Did you forget that? Maybe it was watching the climate catastrophe get worse and worse, and people actually coming to understand that, hey, if the government wanted to, they could give us money. And they did, and now they're not ever going to again. Maybe that had something to do with it. And for all the young people who supposedly found these false identities, maybe it was that when they were left to their own devices with just a few people and only their own families to deal with and a couple of people who would actually support them in exploring their identities, maybe, just maybe, they found some freedom that when everything went supposedly back to normal and their suburban community cul-de-sac didn't like it, they just didn't have the emotional fortitude to be who they were, so they conformed. What is more likely? That a couple of months of not being able to go to Applebee's really fucked up a generation that bad? Or that this is a messed up society from top to bottom and we actually got a chance to look at that in quiet and also while being able to talk to each other on a global scale? And yes, we are a social species and isolation is bad, but calling that isolation is straight up an insult to anybody who's ever been in solitary confinement. Like, that's not. I mean, for most of human history, we've known like 5 to 50 people, and that's about it, right? Like, y'all missed out on some proms and some parties and some weddings, and that's the fuck about it. Yes, I'm in the bathtub. Mind your business. And in relenting to this framing, you are letting the vulture class, the capitalist class, the ghouls who are literally clamping down on us in every way and going to genuine, overt slavery with all of us, you're letting them basically let us forget that if the government wanted to, it could. They could make all of us whole. They could give us housing. They could give us food. And it wouldn't ruin society. It would actually keep it fucking going. But no, instead, whether or not you think you are doing it, you are capitulating to the billionaires' framing of this in ways that are simple. Just look at a quick Wikipedia. Will show you that acute lockdown, stay-at-home orders, right? Those lasted at most for months, okay? They were all pretty much over by like June or July of 2020. Maybe, just maybe, the reason that people are more feral is because they stopped having to pretend to go along to get along, and a lot of us just don't want to do that anymore and refuse to.